Welcome, Sai, to this episode of the Autonomy Podcast. It's really lovely to have you here, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks, Julie. Thanks for having me over here. Yeah, looking forward to this.
Awesome, awesome. It's really great to have you, and thank you again for taking the time on your Friday to do this episode with me.
Definitely.
Awesome, really great to hear, man. So, tell me a bit about your journey so far, Saiganesh. Like you started with us at around 95 kilos, and now you are at 82 kilos. So that's absolutely fantastic. We're talking about almost 24, 25 pounds here.
I don't think it's been that long too. Like people who probably haven't met me for 2 months, they are shocked on how evident that change is. Yeah, I think 25 pounds definitely shows, right? My face, my body, everything looks more structured. And yeah, it's been a good journey. I think it's been 3 months. I just completed 3 months last week. Honestly, it was smooth sailing. I have had tough weekends or tough weekdays where I had to probably manage work along with the goals that were set up during the program. But I think it was overall, I think consistency was the key. And I think it was never rushed. It was always we wanted to do it, we want to see a weekly progress. So yeah, that was I think that was the cornerstone of the program, where it was planned that, okay, you're not going to lose everything in a month. It's probably a journey where you want to do it in a sustainable way.
That's really awesome, really great to hear, man. And you've come a long way, but it's such a considerable change to be able to have that within only a few months. And how are you feeling right now from a weight perspective versus 3 months ago when you were at around 95 kilos?
I think it feels a lot easier right now, because I think even the basic day-to-day stuff, right? Like getting groceries and probably just walking around the neighborhood to run an errand. It seems a lot more easier with the reduced baggage around me. So it feels, and that also helps me mentally, right? It just makes me feel a little bit better during the day. And yeah, I remember when we started the program, getting 10k steps seemed like a task, because I needed a bunch of distractions. I needed loud music, I needed probably some visual stimulation to get me going and everything. But I think it's just become, and definitely breathing was a lot tougher, right, with the extra weight. But I think now is with the consistency, it just become part of my routine, where right now I'm averaging 12k per day and then 15k on weekends. But it's a breeze, right? I enjoy doing that. I enjoy that walking. I don't need music, I don't need anything keeping me engaging. I'm just enjoying the walk itself. Yeah, I think it's something become it became second nature. It's a habit that was developed over the 3 months. So yeah, it's a lot easier right now.
That's awesome. Really great to hear. And do you feel now the 12k is totally manageable versus if somebody asked you about that 3 months ago?
Oh yes, definitely. And now definitely that's the thing. People are shocked when I show them, because since this year at least my average has been 13k, right? On weekends I get a little bit extra steps. So starting from 2025, the average has been 13k, and people are shocked how are you able to manage with your work and everything. I just tell them I don't know, I think it's just become habit. Every time I get a chance to get some steps, I just go and do it. Just to get some extra 500 steps with doing something that is fun. I just do it. I just walk around. I think it becomes easier as you keep doing it. So yeah, it's a good journey.
What do you feel changed for you, Sai? To be able to do that. What is a strategy that was discussed with your coach, or was it a mindset that you felt you learned? Tell me a bit. That's interesting.
Yeah, so initially when I joined the program, right, when I spoke to Coach Venu, we were talking about what's going on and what's been my lifestyle for the previous 2 months and how do you want to change it. I think there were days when I was motivated and I was working out, but consistency was an issue, and then discipline with regards to what I eat and at what time of the day I eat. I think that was lacking. And because I was staying alone, takeouts were probably becoming a daily routine. And yeah, I was not finding that motivation to just go ahead and do it. So I think that changed with this, right? First of all, we created a plan that was probably not pushing that much, pushing my limits. We started it slow and then we upped it a little bit. And then food, right? First of all, the strict rule was to stop the takeaway at overall if possible. If not, then their like coach actually planned out pre fallback meals from the places that I generally order from, and like it was not that deviating from my general portion, but it just added a little bit of veggies that probably I wasn't having them earlier, and like it just added a little bit of bulk and vegetables to keep me satiated throughout the day, right? So those subtle things along with the consistency is what changed prior to the program versus after the program.
Awesome. And what do you feel like helped you remain consistent throughout this period, Sai?
Oh, I think the accountability part is taken care of on a daily basis, dropping the check-ins. Even on a day, like if I do feel like, okay, I probably might not be able to hit the goal, I just feel that extra push because of the accountability, like, hey, like I'll have to end up explaining the coach, like why I couldn't do it, which like I don't want to have that conversation. So like, yeah, it's better I just get it done and like drop it, like, okay, I finish it off. And the goals, right? Like food, steps, workout, in that orders were the goals that were set for me, and there was always a little bit of leeway when it came to workouts because my initial focus was to lose weight and not probably focus that much on the muscle. So yeah, like the coach was always happy and motivating if I at least hit the 2 out of 3 goals, right? Like food and steps were a must. So on a daily basis, I think the accountability made sure that I was hitting those 2 goals even if I don't do workouts. But yeah, now I think the stakes are higher and the bar has been raised, so I'm like accountable for all 3 goals. So but I think like what I did in the last 2 to 3 months has helped me better to hit all the 3 goals now.
That's great. That's really great to hear. And yeah, venue is phenomenal as well. Like, and I'm glad the strategies are working out for you so far, man. So I'm interested, like, to know. Tell me about, like, what have you struggled with before joining autonomy?
I think the know-how, right? Like what's been missing, like because there were days when I was overworking myself in the gym but not seeing any result. For days I would just have a sedentary lifestyle without doing anything at all. It's a process that has to happen over a period of time, right? So like those short-term mindset where I was probably going to the gym 3 days in a row and expecting a huge reward, and when I don't see that reward, I was like really, really sad about it, and then like probably not going to the gym for another 20 days. So I think that was a vicious cycle that I wasn't part of. That was not working for me. And then also the know-how of what to eat and what to avoid, right? Like it's easy to get carried away and add an extra tablespoon of oil to anything that you're eating, but just managing that and like the game plan that was given to me, which had the recipes and the exact measurements of how a tasty meal can be achieved without going above the calories. I think that changed a lot for me, because now I've fallen into a habit of doing meal prep where I plan my meals ahead and like avoid takeaways altogether. So I have my food plan for the week, and then everything is measured, and like I'm happy when I'm doing it because like I know that at the end of the day when I'm sticking to this plan, I'll see results.
You see the results, exactly.
Yeah. This was not there earlier. Like when I was cooking, cooking would happen probably 2 to 3 days a week. I'd end up splurging on the condiments or like the extra tablespoon of oil. But like now the measured capacity of ingredients is just giving me a better view of how I manage my week. So I think these are the changes that happened that were not present earlier.
Awesome. So did you feel like, gaining that knowledge was key for you to be able to stay on track?
Definitely. I think now any meal that I have, I definitely see it from that lens where like conscious about what's going into my body. Again, the major rules was half plate of veggies and quarter plate of protein and quarter plate of carbs. I think I have found it more intuitive now to stick to that rule. Like even when I go out with my friends, right? Like if I don't find a great vegetable source, I just eat the carbs and protein in limited quantity. As soon as I come back home, I cut out a big cucumber and just have a bowl of cucumber. That's all. So like it just makes sure that like I'm satiated throughout the evening, like once I've had that food. And I've stick to the plan where like we talked about like half plate of veggies and quarter plate of protein and carbs. I think that has become more intuitive.
That's awesome. That's really great to hear. And tell me about the why you wanted to do this program. Like, tell me about like what was the moment for you to decide to do something about your health side?
Yeah, so I think for the longest time, right, like I've always hovered around the weight range of 83 to 85 kilos, and then like without doing anything, right, like without trying to reduce weight or without trying to be fit, I was around that weight, easily manageable, like not worrying about anything. But I think like with sedentary lifestyle and my work, right, like I fell into this cycle where my weight was gaining slowly over time, and that coupled with I had a knee issue where like I have something called 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐜𝐫𝐠𝐞𝐿 syndrome, where like I have a little bit of protuberance on my knee that is joined with a muscle, but like I injured that muscle somehow, that small muscle, and it used to hurt if I did a lot of running exercises. And yeah, and with that along with increased weight, it was just becoming a blocker for me to do any physical activity. So that just kept getting worse, and like I gained a lot of weight. And then my back in the day, I always used to play soccer at least like 2 to 3 times a week. And then after this, being in this bad shape, when I played one soccer match over here, I just could not keep up with the game. I felt like I felt really down, like that I could not enjoy the game I love. So I think that was a switch, like okay, no, this can't go on. I need to just work on it. I need to reduce my weight. I need to improve my breathing. I need to be able to run the 60-70 minutes that we play. So there's no excuse about it, and like that was a motivation. And yeah, I think that's when I decided that I need to lose and go back. So my initial target was actually 85 kilos because that was a comfortable weight that I remember being in for the longest time, right? So I think that's what the initial goal was, 85, and like coach, when we were close to 85, he was like, okay, now that we've reached this goal, I see a lot more potential to probably lose a little bit more and then like build a little bit muscle for you. So we definitely want to do that. So yeah, I think that's when the goals changed. Coach wants me to go to 75, but I said like, okay, 80 is my first goal. Like if I reach 80 easily, then I'll probably consider 75. But right, yeah, looks like 80 is also possible right now. So yeah, that's how it happened. And yeah, I think that was the main why. Like I want to be able to go back again to full throttle running on a soccer pitch. So I think that's what I want to do.
Awesome. Have you played soccer recently?
Yes, I did, and it was a lot better. I was able to actually a lot more agile, and even if I was not running that full length of the pitch, the short bursts of sprints I was taking, they were easier to do, and they were like, as I said, more agile. Like I was more involved in the play because of that.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really great to hear. And yeah, it's interesting how our mindset, or like, you know, sometimes our mental barriers that we have set for ourselves, it change with time. Like, you know, so you have set yourself for 85, but we're already having this conversation and you're around 82, so you're past the initial goal that you have set for yourself, and now you're even looking for more. So that's like, you know,
Yes.
absolutely amazing. Yeah. Did you feel like you had this mindset before?
No, I think definitely the program and coach did definitely help with that. Like, because as I said, like 85 on day one, the coach was like, if we stick to this plan by Jan, I definitely see you hitting your goal. And then let's like, based on your mindset, we'll discuss if you want to like switch to maintenance or do you want to go a little bit, push yourself a little bit more. And at that time, I thought like, okay, I'll be probably like 85 and then I'm done. Like, okay, like I'll probably go back. But I think it's just become easier or like second nature that I want to get more fit. So I think that change in mindset happened during, and because of that, yeah, like I think in December itself, not even Jan, in December itself, we reached our goal of 85. Then the coach was gracious enough. He was like, okay, we have holidays coming up. I want you to be in maintenance. I don't want you to worry about cutting down calories here and there. Just enjoy yourself, be in maintenance. Don't gain anything, don't lose anything. It's fine. And then I think we took a 10-day break where I was just driving around with my family, with our dog, and like I was indulging in stuff. I was like enjoying a nice cheese fondue here and there. So, but yeah, like definitely I think over there, even in the snow, I had this mindset that I need to get my steps in. So even when like the sunset was at 4 p.m, like it used to get dark, I used to still walk around with my dog and like get my steps in. So yeah, I think that definitely was a good experience. And then now that mindset is definitely like, okay, back to calorie deficit and I want to lose more. So I think that's where like once I get to 80, I'll probably be motivated to get to 75 too. So let's see how it goes.
That's really awesome to hear, Sai. And do you feel like this mindset is going, or like, that understanding of like, staying active and being healthy, do you feel like this will be carried on for the rest of your life?
Yes, yes. I think now that I've experienced that, it's probably not that tough to maintain that lifestyle. I think I would like to stick to that because I've seen what happens when I don't stick to it. Like, and when I gain, I'm just not happy, like physically or mentally. So I don't want to be in that state. So, and this has become like easier, right? Like now I'm able to hit those goals where I think even after this program, the ethos that I would gain from here is like to manage my food and steps. And by manage, I don't have to be in calorie deficit, right? I can eat maintenance, which like is a big jump. I'll probably struggle to get those maintenance calories in once I go back because I think now I'm on a huge deficit. And yeah, I think when I go back, I'll probably have to add stuff that I like. I'll be already full, but like I'll want to add stuff because I want to don't lose muscle. But yeah, like these things will definitely stick with me for a longer period of time. Yeah, unless there are here and there, like there are plans where I really can't stick to them, like I have to work or I have to travel. But yeah, apart from that, I think food and steps will definitely stick in my daily routine going forward.
That is fantastic. That's really great to hear. And now this is not part of the conversation anymore because your mindset has changed and your attitude has changed and everything has changed for you. But if we track back to before doing this program, and let's say you did not do anything about it, what would you feel the impact would be on your lifestyle and on your health?
I think eventually it would get to a point where it probably definitely more weight increase, and then that would in turn cause probably issues like cardiovascular diseases. So a little bit of history of that is prevalent in my family where my father had a stroke. So luckily like nothing happened, like we were able to save him, but that definitely lingers in my mind, right? Like even during the start of the program, when I was few days when I was working out, I always used to be making sure that okay, I don't want to be like too like pushing myself too much over here, so that like it's a little bit of scary memory in my mind where I like can't see myself having any cardiovascular diseases, but I think it would just break me down mentally. So like that fear would like be very burdening. So I think probably from 95 another 3-4 kgs, I think that's where I would be falling into, like very prone to these cardiovascular diseases. So definitely a no. So it's good that like I was able to like change the course of my life at a very good point.
That's awesome. That's really great to hear. And yeah, I'm sorry about your dad. I hope he's feeling better. And
oh yeah, he's a lot better. Yeah.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah, it's always like, it lingers in the back of our head when something like, drastic happens to one of our family or dear family members. It stays with us and, like it hunts us down in the back of our head on like, wanting to take care of yourself, to stay as long as you can for your family as well. Yeah, absolutely. All right, Sai, so tell me about like, what did you learn so far, or like, what strategies were adopted by Venue throughout this program that you did not know about before joining?
I think how to measure your food, that's definitely a very big learning from this program, right? Because earlier, like when I used to cook food, like I used to just probably like even when like I'm probably counting calories, I would just count the major ingredients and like would not bother about oil or would not bother about the coconut cream that I'm adding, right? That has changed a lot. Like that learning of these small things do matter, that has changed. And I think the importance of steps, it's huge, right? Like I used to wonder, so like in US it becomes a little bit of a task to get your steps in because it's not part of the daily lifestyle of people here, right? There was a period where I was traveling Europe and then I was actually indulging a lot in good food, good pizzas, pastas everywhere. So like yeah, definitely you do tend to overeat. But when I came back, I had lost weight and I just like I didn't understand. Like I was like, what happened? Like I was probably eating extra dessert every night and like I'm still losing weight. Like how did that happen? And I think clearly the contrast was the steps, because on an average, if I could get like 4K in US, on an average in Europe, I was doing 10 to 11K with all the public transport and like going around the cafes and stuff like that. I think that's when I realized like the major role the steps play in our life and like in our physical well-being. And then again, like once I joined this program, I think that was the biggest had to do task for every day, minimum number of steps no matter what. And like on a day I missed out because of traveling, I was always pushed by coach to get those steps, like even if fragmented across a week, like get those extra steps so that you cover up for that particular day. I think those are the small learnings from the program that have changed a lot of it for me. And then now I'm actually learning more about the workouts, like why resistance training is important, right? Like why like making sure that I don't lose more muscle is important for my physical well-being, like how it's gonna probably affect my posture for the next 20 to 30 years of my life. So I think that's the learning that I'm currently getting from like these performance-based goals that I'm right now working on.
Awesome, really great to hear, Sai. So what is next for Sai? Now, you obviously came into the program with the goal of getting to 85, and now you surpassed that and you're getting next. Like, what would you want to achieve at the end of this journey? What would make you satisfied?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, because I think I had initially thought like this whole getting to 85 would be like a 6-month journey, but I think with the consistency and coach pushing me for the accountability, right, I think it just happened within 3 months. It's a blessing, right? But I think now, because we have done that, I think there are some additional goals that I had never, probably my mindset was never capable of thinking, like coming up and creeping up, right? So I think the next goal definitely is to reduce a little bit more and then work on my muscle. Like when I say work on my muscle, my performance, like my strength and my resistance training, like all that, because eventually I think once I get into that good shape of having enough muscle that keeps me healthy, I think that would be the goal at the end of like in the next 3 months. I think that's the goal right now as well. It's just that like it's a bit of mixed goal, because right now I'm still working on losing some more fat. But yeah, I think in a month or so we'll probably focus fully on getting that muscle and look in the best shape of my life so far. So I think that's the goal.
That is awesome. I would love to have you on a second episode once you reach that goal, so we can continue part 2, right? Awesome, Sai. So from your experience so far with this program, what are 3 tips or advices you would give to somebody who is just starting?
I think stick to the plan. Like you have to trust the coach and stick to the plan, because as I said, on day 1, 10K feels like a big task. Like on day 1, I felt like, okay, I did it today. Like what's the plan for tomorrow? How would I be able to do it? Like, right? Like, and then the next day you feel, okay, how do I do this consistently for a week? And then you get the week done and you're like, okay, fine. Yeah, maybe I can do this for another week. It's fine. Then you get to a month and you're like, okay, this is easy. So that's rule number 1, stick to the plan provided by the coach. Don't deviate from it. And then the second one is definitely the progress photos that you click, because I think week by week when I was looking at them, right, the subtle change in the way I stand, in the way my body was looking, I think that was a huge motivation. I think now I'm really shocked at how different I look from the day 1 to today. But even within the weekly progress pictures, right, I could find those subtle differences in my body and in my face that told me that, okay, I'm on a good journey. So I think the progress photos is a huge motivator. So we definitely need to get those done. I think that definitely has to be part of the program. Like you see yourself changing, evolving. I think that's a huge motivation. And yeah, like if I had to pick up third, I think knowing your daily food intake, right? Like let's say, because there are days when impromptu plans come up, you have to probably head out with your friends, stuff like that. On days as such, I make sure I probably give up a carb in one of my meals. Like, okay, I'll probably end up eating a little bit more during the dinner because like friends, right? So when that happened, I think I just used to consciously make this decision of probably not having a carb for one of the meals, or getting some extra veggies and like reducing the amount of protein and carbs, so that at the end of the day I know that I did not breach my food goal. I think that matters a lot. It's not possible to gain half a kg or a kg like food that you eat in a day, right? Like you need probably 3000 extra calories to gain that. But even if you end up eating a little bit more carbs on a day, right, like it just probably acts as a demotivator the next day when you see on the scale that because of water retention, like you still gained half a kilo. Like you feel like you reversed on the progress that you did throughout the week. So I was not a big fan of doing that. Like I would not like, coach always kept saying that don't worry about fluctuations, they do tend to happen, but I myself was not happy with them. Like I would make sure like carbs are limited so that no water retention happens. And definitely like I was a bit overweight, and it's not like I had no energy resources. I had the fat energy resources within me, so I knew that I'm not gonna be probably like low on energy or something. It's just that I need to avoid a little bit of carbs.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Sai. This is really, really insightful, and really happy for your progress so far. And yeah, wishing you all the best in the rest of your journey.
Thanks, Judy.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Thank you very much for being on the episode, and thank you very much for taking the time again to do this today.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, always good to know that like there might be more people who will probably want to do this journey, and I definitely like wish them all the best.
Absolutely, man. Thank you very much. Great to hear.